Alright, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, music makers, video gamers, entertainers, and especially you Streetlight Crusaders, and a couple of you telemarketers who are most likely gonna call during this program more times than a PBS pledge drive. Welcome to another episode of A Work in Progress. And yes, ladies and gentlemen, the title is true. This is the ending. The ending of our story. The ending. And funny fact about what I just said, folks, that was not only featured during the whole thing with Animaniacs, I keep forgetting which episode it was, but I think it was when that Yakko, Wakko, and Dot tried to travel around the lot to find some mysterious prize. But that was the same line I used back when I was in high school for WJSB during my second year, I do believe, before we were about to go on summer vacation. Yeah, except that I had a guitar in hand and I did the whole, the ending of our story, the ending. And by the way, the guitar was extremely out of tune and there was a whole bunch of problems with it, but it still went over. It was still good. And speaking of things out of tune, folks, yes, I know a couple of you out there has been wondering why in the world DJ Smokey wasn't on for Wednesday for Work in Progress. Well, for Boxing Day, folks, we decided to give the maestro, Dan the Weatherman Stu, the PR department, and everybody else here at Music Village headquarters that keeps this show going a little bit of a break. Because not only we went to Santa's workshop to actually, celebrate the fact that we pulled off one of the longest episodes of the Tuesday Night Special we've done since our 140th episode, which I think was just about an hour and 10 minutes. And let me tell you, folks, that episode was supposed to come out a hell of a lot earlier than it did, but we got caught up talking to a YouTuber, a gamer, and a music lover known as Gamer God Z about a couple of old school video games that we played back in the day, and we compared and contrast games, talked about Grand Theft Auto, open world games, and even talked about Metal Gear. And he said his favorite Metal Gear game was, I do believe, Metal Gear 4. I still say that Sons of Liberty was the best one, and I know a couple of you out there probably said that the best one out of those was most likely, Snake Eater? Never played it. But he did give some valid points on why in the world most of those games was his favorite, and one of the valid reasons was, I do believe that in Metal Gear 4, you can actually cloak yourself with the wall. Sort of like Spawn in the movie Spawn. Which, by the way, I still need to see the sequel for that. I've never seen it before. A lot of people told me it's come out. So I'm going to try to give that a once over too. And yeah, besides talking about that, I told him how I veered from Metal Gear, went to the Hitman series, and even Assassin's Creed, gave him a recommendation for Assassin's Creed 4, and a couple of other cool games that we played over this year that was pretty cool. And my God, I still can't believe it, folks. This is the last Thursday of this entire year. We're pretty much at the bottom of the ninth, 0 hour, 9 a.m. like Rocket Man right now, in the ether in between time of holidays and a whole bunch of other stuff where time gets a little bit confusing and goes a little bit slower than it usually would. And to be surprised with you guys at home, if you don't hear anything right now, that's the fact that the traffic is gone. The kids for their winter vacation have left. So that means traffic has been clear, things have been great, and it gave me a great opportunity to give you guys this last episode of A Work in Progress for now, at this time. Now, for some strange reason, it feels like I'm in a Twilight Zone right now because of how quiet the streets are right now with no cars. And the second I say that, here comes a Mustang flying down the street. Yep, right on cue, folks. Right on cue here at A Work in Progress. And one thing I would like to tell you guys about the Christmas special. Thank you for watching it, and thank you for being a part of it. And the fact that we were able to come up with those 3 songs completely by random is nuts. Because I think the 3 songs for the Music Village Christmas CD we went with for this year, or was supposed to go with, was supposed to be a song from AC/DC, A Touch Too Much, and we were going to call it Rap Too Much, for people who wrap presents too much with wrapping paper, which I know several. The other song, which did made it to the final cut, I do believe was Christmas After Midnight. And for some strange reason, we did the Disturbed version besides the Judas Priest version, which I wish we could have called Gravy Brown or another guy we know on the phone with a guitar to help us out with that. But hey, we made it work. And the last song that we added to the list, which was another one, was the Summer of '69 Bryan Adams, which we did a cover called Winter of '69. Yeah, folks, we are definitely weird here, and the fact that we were able to pull it off was absolutely hilarious. And Dan the Weatherman Stu, I have to give a personal thanks for the intro for Mr. Frosty, which we came up with on the spot right before Christmas when we were just sitting there and he was just playing Mr. Crowley on the keyboard, and I said, hey, that song is stuck in my head. Cut it out. I don't need to hear it anymore. And then I said, you know what? I think we can put this a part of the show, but what will I call it that is, coincides with Christmas? And a couple of the ideas we had not only featured the Freeze-Meister, Heat-Miser, Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, until we finally settled on Frosty the Snowman and called him Mr. Frosty for short. And the fact that he used to creep me out when I was a kid because he was just about 6 feet tall above those kids, and the fact that he could talk. A talking snowman as a little kid who watched horror movies all the time, and just smiling and just helping out children with powers of winter definitely creeped me out. Just like Jack Frost, but yeah, definitely creeped me out. And after the Christmas show, folks, we just sat around, like I said before, Santa's Workshop, watching cool episodes of Animaniacs, The Three Stooges, which is the same thing we're going to probably do for New Year's after Under the Radar this week, and even got a chance to listen to some cool and interesting music as well, including yet another cover from OHP with the song The Verve with their song Drugs Don't Work, or The Drugs Don't Work. We got that confused, but Maestro once again for the save. How was your holidays, Maestro? Well, the Maestro just said that it was alright. Even though he spent a majority of it with us, which we do appreciate, and you will get a little bit more, money in your pocket for that? Yeah, don't worry about it. We'll talk about it later. And speaking of Christmas, ladies and gentlemen, the world of Phantasy Star Online Bluebirds has a Christmas event that has activated as of, I do believe, Boxing Day. So apparently they celebrate Christmas one day late, just like most people who, don't have the time to really celebrate Christmas on Christmas, just in case that they're working. And this is actually one of the biggest events of the year besides the summer event, because this event allows you to get the key essential element to get the sword that's one of the most powerful swords in the game, known as the Dark Flow, known as the Parasitic Gene Flow. And they warn on the page as well, saying it's not an easy drop, and Oglaflow won't drop it. So yeah, Oglaflow, for those who don't know, is the final boss of episode 2 that we talked about for the basic majority of A Work in Progress. And just to let you guys know at home, another thing we figured out about Phantasy Star Online Bluebirds is that the tournament will take place on Christmas Eve, or not Christmas Eve, I mean New Year's Eve for this year, most likely as of this weekend, will be the finals for that said tournament, and we will be giving the results for yesterday's news for the 4-year anniversary of Under the Radar. And on top of that, folks, we will also, still on schedule, have the Retromania for WrestleMania 19 with a whole bunch of factoids in there and interesting things that happened a part of WrestleMania 19 that didn't happen in WrestleMania history for another, I do believe, 13 to 16 years, which tells you a lot. And besides that, folks, another interesting thing that happened prior to Christmas was, for you M. Dickey fans out there, M. Dickey decided to release yet another classic game that he had for PC to the Apple Store and Google Play Store as well, known as the U Testament. And this game I only played at least once or twice, where it gives you the chance to be in the biblical times and follow the journeys along with Jesus Christ, which was a fun game for me to play, and not to mention gave me the powers of Moses to raise and lower water and go all the way from, I guess, from Egypt all the way to where the final place where Jesus was crucified. Once again, very interesting game and a fun game nonetheless. And for those who wants to go out there and try this game for yourselves, you can head on over to the Google Play Store and head under the dot that says M. Dickey, neither that, or search up the U Testament, there's 2D coming. I know it's supposed to be the second coming, but it says the 2D coming, which is absolutely hilarious and definite great use of the title, too. And oh, in other news, folks, and something that we completely forgot to mention for the Tuesday Night Special or for any of the other shows for this week, apparently, to celebrate the upcoming release of The Last of Us Part 2, the PlayStation website decided to actually give you guys a preview of the game with a burning car winter fireplace, which apparently rumors are going on for this 2-hour video. They put an Easter egg in the said video, but you have to watch the entire 2 hours to try to figure out where it is. And I, for one, am not going to sit and watch a burning car for 2 hours to try to find an Easter egg for a game that I am anticipating for next year. But at the same time, to sit back and watch a burning car for 2 hours? No, I don't see myself doing that. I'll leave that to the Ripley fans out there who watch Ripley's Believe It or Not, or one of those people who are able to point out the little Easter eggs and put a circle around it, like if it was John Madden reviewing a play. And by the way, I wonder, is John Madden still around to do the Super Bowl games along with Pat Summerall, or is that just me? Because I know a lot of you out there who might not know who John Madden is. He was the coach for the Oakland Raiders a long time ago, and I really thought that he would be at least another Super Bowl once again, but no, haven't seen him in years. I think the last Super Bowl I saw him at, to actually call a game alongside with Pat Summerall, was Super Bowl 32? Or was it 31? It was a long time ago, I'll just say that much. But wherever John Madden is right now, you know, good luck to you, and I hope to see you in another Super Bowl or Little Giants movie in the near future. But besides that, and before we go any further off track, folks, it looks like the person who's going to be directing the upcoming re-release, or should I say, the upcoming movie that's going to feature Are You Afraid of the Dark on October 11th, 2019, is none other than DJ Caruso, who was the same person who brought us, and I'm not kidding when I say this, Triple X Return of Xander Cage, which I still need to watch, by the way. He was also able to bring us Disturbia, and also he's going to be directing the new movie G.I. Joe Ever Vigilant by 2020. So the fact that he's going to be in charge of this said movie, or TV movie for Are You Afraid of the Dark, I think it's in good hands. I'm not entirely sure. I'm going to give it a chance, just like I did for the Legends of the Hidden Temple movie, and I got a feeling by October this year, we will review it. Actually, yeah, we definitely will review this movie, a part of the Indie Radio Arcade. And by the way, folks, I got a feeling that you fans out there may get a chance to vote on the exclusive Instant Classic video game review that will take place for the 3-year anniversary the second week of next year. Because we have no idea what it's going to be. And I think one that we're sort of skating on right now is the... hold on, let's see here. Neither it was going to be Sugar Ray Leonard's boxing championship boxing, or it was going to be, since it can't be Smash Brothers because we already reviewed it, it was going to be another classic fighting game on that list. And I'm thinking it's either going to be Tekken 1, 2, or 3. And I'll leave that to you, the fans out there, to decide. And the third, or I should say the fourth choice that we were going to have, just in case as a backup, in case we reviewed those games, was the classic boxing game that M. Dickey came out with called Reach. So yeah, there's a high possibility that might be on the plate as well. But like I said, the idea book is over there. Maestro's currently writing all this down. And I got a feeling we may come up with a decision before the first week of the new year is over. And another thing we forgot to do, because somebody actually brought it to my attention, aka the Maestro once again, telling me that we completely forgot to answer another one of your questions, a part of the Ask the DJ that we had last week, or better known as the Music Village mailbag. So we're going to answer that one question right now. It says, Dear DJ Smokey, I could have sworn you said you were going to do a live video game story one day, but yet we never got one. What happened? Did you forget? Oh, alright. To answer your question, no, we didn't forget, and yeah, we ran into several problems trying to do one, but you know what? Since it's the last episode, for now, of a work in progress, we might as well do one right now. Maestro, do you have the music? No? Well, looks like we're going a cappella with this one too. So, alright, all you video gamers, welcome to yet another high-tech, math-munching edition of the DJ Smokey's True Video Game Stories. And the video game story that we have up on the plate for you for this week, folks, is none other than Math Munchers 2000. Or more or less, Math Munchers Deluxe. Yeah. And this game was a game that we didn't have that much time to play, but was definitely a fun game when we experienced it. So without further ado, I think it's time for us to pick up the keyboard, look at the beautiful new screen that we got from the library, as we get ready to paint the picture. Alright, this video game story took place approximately, if I was to ballpark it, just about well over 18 years ago, when I had a chance to play this game just before I left the 5th grade. And the 5th grade class was so kind to me because I was so well behaved, according to the teacher, we had a chance to actually first test this game in the library. Now, the original Math Munchers that I played as a kid, fun game. Absolutely fun game. 2-bit, 8-bit sort of creatures rolling around on the screen, free space here, free space there, a whole bunch of creatures that tried to take you out that looked like creatures from Q*bert, and it was all right. But this game was a whole new ball game, because not only it was featured on the brand new Macs that they had at the time, but they also featured this game to have it in 3D with new music, announcers that would be on the upper part of the screen while you were in this little miniature cube-like arena, while the announcers would say, "And here we go with the first couple of math problems. Let's hope he can get it, folks. Give him a little encouragement to get those numbers." And while those announcers were up there, which I think was the actual math munchers wearing like these sports wigs that look like regular sports commentators, sitting there commentating on the action while I was making my way around, and the creatures that tried to take you out, instead of the creatures from Q*bert, folks, it was, I think one of the creatures was a dog, another one was a bird, and there was several other strange-like creatures that you wondered, how in the world did they get in the game that was in this game? And when I was trying to get these said creatures and tried to fool them, I would usually go for the first 3 problems I knew, then go toward the free space, and then take out the rest of the problems and I'm alright. But for some strange reason, when that dog popped up and I was in the free space, which, by the way, funniest thing that happened when I was in the free space is that he would break dance in the free space since the creatures can't get him and just go ahead and do a disco dance as well. But the dog did not care about that free space. It's like he broke the rule, the Highlander rule of math munchers, and just got me while I was on the free space, and everybody who was watching behind me went, "Oh!" Which I said, how in the world is that possible? I didn't even think that was possible. How in the world was he able to accomplish that? So I would lose 1 life because of that. The second life I would lose is because I didn't realize that in between rounds, unlike the old math munchers, the categories are random. So if you do multiplications 1 round, they'll switch it up to divisible of 5s, or even divided by 5, or divided by 2 at random times during this game. And I said, hold on, I know this problem. Got it. And it said, and then said, oh, he got the wrong one. We're gonna have to reset back to 1. Or whatever they said as a commentary on the table saying that I got it wrong. And I was like, my God, this is only level 2. What in the world's going on? So I had a reputation to uphold, folks, because I had the high score for years in Math Munchers. And this game, by level 2, was making me look like I was a rookie. So before I was about to leave and graduate on to Frelinghuysen Middle School at the time, I made sure whenever I was done doing any of the work I had, whether it was math, English, social studies, you name it, I went right into the library with my free time and just played Math Munchers over and over again to get back my edge. So it came down to the last week before we were about to graduate, and I spent that little extra time in summer school, by choice, mind you, which I regret, but yet at the same time was glad I was able to do so, because I was able to, while all the other kids were in there just, cramming down on books and just trying to make up for what they couldn't do during school because, summer school, I was able to do something I wasn't able to do in the original version of Math Munchers with this game, and that was beat my original high score, which was at level 9, which was a high score of, I do believe, well over 25,376. Now, for those who are wondering at home how in the world I'm able to remember that high score, trust me, when you're at the echelon of a high score in a school where a whole bunch of people is cheering you on, you never forget that moment. So when I was able to beat that high score by well over 5,000 points, and I still had the same people cheering behind me when I did it the first time, definitely one of the most magical moments I had, and I will always carry that with me for as long as I live since I left that said school. And to this very day, folks, I have yet to see anybody beat that high score because I think they got rid of those computers since that very day. And with that said, ladies and gentlemen, wraps it up for another new high score math munching arena edition of the DJ Smokey's True Video Game Stories. And thank you. Thank you. You know, my show, the Conan O'Brien applause machine wasn't necessary for that, but I do appreciate it. So, to answer your question, yep, there you go. First time ever, live edition of the DJ Smokey's True Video Game Stories that I originally was going to save for next year's Instant Classic month, but we have a couple of more Instant Classic games up our sleeve to make up for that. And speaking of other games, since we're going to go into the near-dear future for this show, coming up in the next couple of months, since we are going to be around for May, we are going to feature a couple of little silly video games to make up for 3 years that we weren't on the air during May. And I think one of them was not only the Dark Side Chronicles, House of the Dead, and, it's a whole bunch of shooting gallery games, but I can't remember them offhand. But one of them was one that when I went to the Rockaway Mall and played, and I think it was Terminator Rise of the Machines. I don't think that was the actual title, but it was the one, and if anybody knows what the game is out there, let me know, because it was the Terminator game that you would play in the arcade, where they would have these big, oversized Arnold Schwarzenegger, I was hunting Predator in the rainforest sort of guns that you had to use to take them out. And that's a video game story we're also going to tell during the month of May. Yeah, that's coming soon. That's the only video game stories we're going to reveal on this broadcast, because the rest of them, we want them to be an absolute surprise. And not to mention, another thing that we have for a surprise for Music Village folks, or more or less for this Saturday's edition of the Indie Radio Arcade, which is the final one of the year, is a special tribute to Lemmy Kilminster, who unfortunately died well over 3 years ago as of this upcoming Friday. And yeah, the real reason why we're doing a tribute to Lemmy on Saturday is because without him, we wouldn't have the Indie Radio Arcade, and the show theme wouldn't be there either, because it was the Ace of Spades, which is still my favorite rock song of all time. Or is it considered metal? I don't know. I know one of those people who are really into music, like music theorists, would go out there and say, oh, he called the metal song a rock song. Stone him. No, I usually get it confused, folks. So if it's a metal song, it's a metal song. If it's a rock song, it's a rock song. And speaking of songs, folks, we also said that for that said show, for this upcoming Saturday, we are going to do for the first time in well over, I do believe, 8 months, is going to do an outside-the-box review for a game that Lemmy was featured in, known as Brutal Legend, which so far, it's a pretty fun game. But we'll give a further analysis for it this upcoming Saturday. And another thing that we managed to come across, folks, that we completely forgot to mention, is that Tim Heidecker, for those who don't know him, was a part of the classic shows for Adult Swim, not only known as Tom Goes to the Mayor. I do believe another one was the Tim and Eric Awesome Show, Great Job. And I keep forgetting the name of the spy show he was a part of that featured the father of Charlie Sheen as the President of the United States in. But, oh yeah, Decker. Yeah, thank you, my show. Decker was the show he was involved with. Was actually able to play with a band called The War on Drugs and do a cover of not only Tom Petty, but was able to do 2 covers from Tom Petty known as Kick It Hard and Hot Piss. And he did a pretty good job. Now, for those who don't know, Tim Heidecker can really play the guitar because he was a part of a band, I think, called uh, Pussy Whip Bang Gang, I think it was called. Was that the name of the band, Maestro? Actually, yes, it was. I thought I was just guessing it, but that was the actual name of the band he was a part of, where he did a whole bunch of songs on tour for Adult Swim and beyond for all the songs that he did for the Tim and Eric Show, Great Job, the Tim and Eric Awesome Show, Great Job. Don't know why in the world we keep getting that title messed up, but it's a long title of a show. But he was able to do all the covers from that show along the lines of Sports, Brownie Mountain, which is my favorite, alongside with Sports, and a couple of other classic songs from Tim and Eric's Awesome Show, along with Jack Black, which is pretty cool. And if you guys want to go ahead and check out this awesome cover that he was able to do, you can head on over to the YouTube page of a man known as Market and 8. Yeah, Market and 8. To check it out for yourselves. Which, trust me folks, if you're fans of Tim and Eric and just wonder, how in the world is this guy able to pull this off? There you go. And another thing we would like to say before this year closes out, and I got a feeling Maestro's gonna ring that bell at any moment, is we would like to thank you, the fans out there, for listening in for this past year of great shows that we were able to do for this entire year. Even though we had our highs and low moments like a roller coaster at Six Flags, the fact that a couple of you, or most of you, have stuck around during it all, I really, really do appreciate. And apparently somebody asked me online another question: DJ Smokey, what was your favorite moment of this entire year show-wise? I would have to say, besides the 200th episode of Music Village, which felt like forever ago, I gotta say, the 4-year anniversary of Music Village, the special April Fool's episode we did for Under the Radar, the 120th, I think it was, edition of Under the Radar, and especially what episode was that, Maestro? Oh yeah, the 200th episode that we did for the Tuesday night special that took place at 2 a.m. under a live microphone that I got a feeling that only the craziest insomniacs and even Dave Attell, if he was up, was able to hear. And still to this day, the fact that we were able to get 2 shows to well over 200 before this year closed out, not bad. You know, a little pat on the back, because I think with all the shows that we've done so far, we are well toward having well over 800 shows done in the past 5 years. Not bad. Or more or less, according to the Maestro's record, 800 shows almost done in the past 14 years of our entire career. Still not bad. And one of the people we forgot to really dive into the questions for, because they asked for our help in Phantasy Star Online Blue Burst, we should be on most likely after this week's episode of A Work in Progress and after Music Village this upcoming Friday, which we will be reviewing one more Lighthouse of the Week, even though everybody, after they said Merry Christmas, started to take down their Christmas decorations faster than I could possibly imagine. So we're gonna have to find that special Lighthouse of the Week immediately after this show too, because I got a feeling by the time I think New Year's rolls around, all the Christmas tree lights of all the people's houses are going to be gone, except for those who really decided to go overboard with their Christmas designs. Like, for example, that house is like a couple of houses down from us that has Frosty the Snowman still on his roof, and the giant Christmas tree wreath, and a whole bunch of Santa's elf signs with elves, reindeer, a snow globe, I think well over 500 Christmas tree lights, and an electric bill that's probably in the thousands. But still, it shows that he has the Christmas spirit, and it definitely touched our hearts as well. So, to that one guy who over-decorated his house down the street, thank you for making our Christmas holiday, even though it was a little bit stressful behind the scenes, just a little bit better with your awesome house. And we hope you do it again next year, which chances are he is, because I went and asked him and said, hey, are you doing this again next year so I can take a picture? And he would say, yeah, sure. And then he would say, but why didn't you take a picture? I said, because a guy outside somebody's house looking with a camera that looks like one of them old 1860 cameras trying to take a picture of a giant oversized Christmassy house in the middle of the night was kind of creepy. And not to mention, reminded me of one of those old school horror movies where they would take the picture of something and it would take the soul of the person, which I didn't want to happen to the Christmas people down the street, which is what I really did call them when I said hello and talked to him. And I keep on forgetting what his actual name was, but we just call him the Christmas guy down the street. Yeah, folks, that's what type of people we are. Oh, really, Maestro? Well, ladies and gentlemen, that was the fight bell, or should I say the bell to wrap things up, even though we still had a couple of more things to talk about. But nevertheless, it's time for us to vamoose before the next telemarketer or weird guy decides to call this house asking about some form of timeshare that I don't want. So, with that said, folks, I would like to say, if you guys out there like what you heard out there and want to hear more of our crazy shenanigans that last a lot longer than 45 minutes, you can head on over to our Facebook, Tumblr, or should I say, no, wait, my show, take two. If you guys want to listen to any of the things that we've done over the past couple of years, besides a work in progress that if you want to hear again, that's not live, you can head on over to our Facebook, SoundCloud, Spreaker, and even Tumblr pages, all named the same, only known as Music Village Radio, under the hashtag A Work in Progress 4. Or A Work in Progress 5. Thank you for the correction once again, Maestro. And if you guys want to go ahead and figure out what other crazy and zany things we still got prepared for the remaining days of this AC December, heading into the Year of the Fist Part 5, or Part 4, depending on what Kung Fu movie you've watched, you can head on over to our Google Plus and Twitter pages, only known as the 00 Agent 0012. And for any of you fans out there who really want to try to figure out what we're going to do, we're probably going to set up a Discord page by the end of the year that will be called the 00 Agent 0012 as well, so you can chat it up with us and ask us any questions you want on the fly. Because we will be on just about 18 hours a day, 7 days a week. And before we head out, folks, we would like to before we thank you, the fans out there, really would love to give a thank you to not only Technoax with his song Streetwalk Manifesto, that was for the intro and outro for this show. We would also like to thank Mike and Isabella Russell, aka the Russells from Music Audio Creative, for giving us a chance to have this show for just about a month to randomly chat crazy things with you fans out there. And we would also like to thank, most importantly of all, you the fans out there for listening in to a late random edition of A Work in Progress. And if you fans out there like what you heard, go out there and spread the word. You know what? Like Porky Pig at the end of most of those Looney Tune cartoons. Yeah, PR department who just came in, gave me the thumbs up, and they said, keep up the great work as always. So, thanks. And we would also like to thank you, the independent artists out there, for delivering that musical goodness like you always do. And hopefully the next time we're on, we can play more of your music with your permission and able to give you guys as much of a voice as we gave ourselves. And finally, last but not least, we would like to thank you, the independent gamers out there, for coming out all those sweet, sweet games we had a chance to talk about during this broadcast and most likely during all of the shows we're going to do for the rest of the remaining weekend of this fine, fine year. And it will include high scores as well, so don't worry. And I guess with everybody thanked, you guys out there know how we go out. I'm DJ Smokey on behalf of the Maestro, the PR department, 2018 for this random bit of madness saying, bleep, 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 that's all, folks. But most importantly, when there's smoke, there's fire. And we'll see you guys next year when we try to figure out yet another work in progress. Till then, good night, everybody.
Walk down the street, saying hello to the people I meet, and I'm killing my love underneath the sun, triggering down like the smoking gun. Yeah, I ain't got no plans, just a rusty voice and an empty gas can. My car's broken down a mile behind, and I've got my life set on rewind, baby. I ain't got no plans, just a rusty voice and an empty gas can. My car's broken down a mile behind, and I've got my life set on rewind, baby. Walk down the street, saying hello to the people I meet, and I'm killing my love underneath the sun, triggering down like the smoking gun. Yeah, I ain't got no plans, just a rusty voice and an empty gas can. My car's broken down a mile behind, and I've got my life set on rewind, baby. I ain't got no plans, just a rusty voice and an empty gas can. My car's broken down a mile behind, and I've got my life set on rewind, baby.